Hey everybody, this is Frankie Abbruzzino, and I'm out here at the flea market. Not sure how good this is coming through because of the reception. It was saying that it wasn't great, so we'll see what we can do with it. As you guys can hear, you got some lady out here. She's singing up a ton of songs, and they do have that every weekend. My buddy Joe sometimes plays out here. And the flea farmers market is open until 12 if you're out here on the island. And they have quite a few vendors. One thing that's, I'm out here is I think I put in some comments or something like that. I haven't really advertised that I was going to be out here, but if you want to stop by, I have some flyers. I do have some signs. I'm going to be out here until I run out and do a live stream from the gun show, and then I'm meeting an individual out here to just cover some quick stuff. But farmers market, it seems like it's humming here, but I know I've talked to the ladies contacted me before, and one of the vendors, she wanted to stay anonymous, and she said because she's feared retribution. I'm not sure what kind of retribution, but she was concerned that the location was going to remain here instead of going back over on Tampa. And that's because all the beautification's finished, yet there hasn't been a move to move them back to that street. And her complaint, along with what she says are several other vendors, is the fact that they're not getting as much business out here. That, in her words, it dropped by 50%. I don't know. I personally like this spot better than Tampa, but I could see where you're more visible out there on Tampa. But the city does a good job of trying to tell everybody to come out here, and there's more than enough parking. I know when I contacted the city of Venice, talked via email with the assistant city manager, Rambo, he said it was news to him, and he would address it, but that was months ago, and I haven't heard exactly what's happened since then. So, somebody asked me that I don't read Gondo. I have no use for it. Everybody knows the issues that I've had with that paper. So if you go to any of these events and the Gondo's there and there's a slamming, just keep in mind, they've tried to team up with all the other media operations to bring me down. They've threatened lawsuits. They've even on last time I ran for mayor, they wouldn't even put my name in the paper, and then people started pulling ads over it, and they put a correction on page 7. This time, they haven't run any articles on me, just on Ron and Bob. So you would think I'm non-existent, and that's basically they're manipulating the election, if you want to call it what it really is. I know one of my friends said he talked to the new editor out there, and the editor said, "Oh no, we don't play into politics like that." Well, then why didn't you run anything on Frank? Some people said, "Well, Frank didn't turn in a press release." Well, you're reporters. Why don't you do like Earl Kimmel did with the Sarasota Herald and write an article based upon all the information that I made plenty available out there on my website and everything. Be a reporter. You know how that goes. Or don't you, over at the Gondo? So then they, they allow like Bob to come on. I guess he did some editorial today, and it's clear that they support him. Clear meaning even like Greg Giles, who's a reporter for them, he's doing a FOIA request to try to get me in trouble and try to bust me on something. And I found that out because I had to do a FOIA request to see who's was turning such frivolous little issues over to the city, and it was him. Something you wouldn't expect from the paper. Anyways, that's me point. So I wanted to make sure when people read the Gondo and they attack and they're doing any of this stuff, keep that in mind. One of my friends talked to the editor, as I was saying. He said, "Oh no, we don't get political." And then he also said, "Well, you know what? I think from what our old editor, Ron Pont, the redheaded guy that's just a jerk, he said that Frank was stealing our stuff that's in our member area and giving it out, which is wrong." And I got to tell you, he knows this is wrong, because if I was doing that, the Gondo would have had more than enough reason to sue me, and they would have won that suit. The reason the Gondo only threatened suit is because I wasn't doing that. I was taken. They would, if you guys ever read the Gondo before, when they used to lock up their material in members only area, they would put out 1 or 2 sentences, and then you'd have to click and go in the membership area. I was sharing those 2 sentences, which basically is done by a lot of aggregators. It's not a huge deal. And then I was going to link to their member area so they could read the rest of the story. In my mind, helping the Gondo out, which needs a lot of help digitally. And that's all I did. And they knew this, and Ron, for some reason, has lied to Ron, the ex-editor. He's actually the editor of their digital area now, Northport, or something like that. Lied to the new owners, I guess, and told them this BS story. But you got to question why the new owners aren't smart enough to realize that if that was accurate, they would have had more than enough reason to file suit against me, and they would have won. So obviously, Ron was being disingenuous. And I love calling people out like this. Somebody said, Frankie, if you're running for office, you shouldn't call them out. Well, no, I would be true to myself. I'm going to continue to call these guys out for the crap that they pull. So we'll continue to do that stuff. I did see something funny with Ron Feinstein. And I don't know Ron. Ron lived down the street from me. I met him, I think, once when he said he wanted to do an interview with me on the Green Initiative, which is basically saying do away with all nuclear and go to wind power and solar power only. And I enjoy doing those. I think we need to look more at solar and wind, but doing away with nuclear, and there was a lot of other things. Basically, AOC, who's been pushing the initiative, her ex, I don't know what his position was with her, but he was her ex partner in chief, if you want to call him. He basically came out and said it was an initiative to make money. And there's a lot, bipartisanly, there's a lot of people that are for it. It's not a right or left issue. There's a lot of concerns with that initiative. So anyways, that's the only time I talked to him, and I said I'd probably challenge him on some of his accusations that he was throwing out there, and I never heard back from the guy. But I came across one of his advertisements yesterday, showed up on my Facebook feed, and I clicked on it, and it was basically a couple people commenting, and you had one very vocal conservative and one very vocal liberal on there. And they were on there talking. There's actually a fun side there walking by now as I'm talking about it. He's handing out his flyers here. So he just looked at me and gave me a strange look. So anyways, he came on, he kept saying, guys, this is not about national, it's bipartisan. What he was doing, he's trying to deflect and get people off of some of the stuff like what he said on his 429 radio show. And you can go to his Indivisible radio show page, or you can just look on my page. I've covered it, and I put the file on there where he said anybody that voted for Trump or any Republicans hate people of color, hate women, and hate all humanity. Very clearly stated in there, but he's trying to get people away from that, and he kept saying it's bipartisan. Let's not talk about that national stuff. And he wants people to forget about that issue, but he can't really do that. But he may have success with that because Bob is doing the same thing basically. From what I've heard about the editorial, and again, I haven't read it in the Gondo today, Bob is pushing that he's for sustainable growth. Pretty hard to do when you got big old posters all over Mike Miller and Frank Casada's properties everywhere. Pineapples down next to the police station, and also on Neil properties. I was going by Neil, and he had a huge one on one Neil property. So it's pretty hard to sit there and push that you're for sustainable growth when you're marketing your posters all over there. Now the other guy, Joe Newender, is doing that, and unfortunately, the guy that's running against Joe Newender, do not like him at all. He's one of the people that led that whole campaign to try to get me to drop out so that Ron could run, and then it's Tim Brady guys. So I don't even know if I'll vote in that race. I don't know Joe, though. I got to meet Joe and see what he's all about, which I will probably at a forum. I think our forum at the Republican forum is next week. Not saying I'm a Republican, but I'm going to go, or a Democrat. Can't do that. It's bipartisan. Even though everybody knows where you stand on issues. We'll see what happens, but also he's pushing how great he is for environment. You guys have seen it. And I'm not sure who came out and said these are the 3 talking points that we're going to have: sustainable growth, the environment. I understand those 2, and then fiscal responsibility. But those are the 3 talking points. And what's funny is you're going to go to all these forums, and I'm actually going to every forum I was invited to but one, and that's the Tiger Club, because it's in the middle of the day. The timeline isn't right. I got a client meeting. I have some other obligations, so I can't make it. But you'll hear Frank's not going to forums. One does not mean you're not going to forums out of 6 of them. I am going to all the HOA ones. And you'll hear everybody say the same thing. They're for sustainable growth. They're for environmentally friendly procedures and processes and all that good stuff. And then fiscal responsibility. All 3 of them, everybody's been harping on that. So how do you distinguish who's who? You know, a lot of people are going to believe Bob. They're not going to go back and look at his 9 years. And he's pushing this whole thing that, you know, I was just a councilman there. When I become mayor, I'll change. No, not really, because it's not a strong mayor. Basically, you can do as a mayor what you did as a council member. So why didn't you do this for the last 9 years? Where have you been? One good point is on the outflows. You know, since 2012, there's a Herald Tribune article. You can Google something I said to outflow Herald Tribune Daniels, and you'll see the article where they said pollution is coming from those outflow points. That was certified when the consultant came out earlier this year and said all this pollution is flowing from there. And I've put the report up a few times. Yet you've seen no action back then, and you've seen no action now besides blaming pigeons. Seriously, got the pigeons are doing that. So you don't really have anything where you can challenge these guys unless people do their homework, and a lot of them won't. A lot of them are just going to go to these forums, or they're just going to read the Herald, or they're just going to read a campaign site and see, oh, he's for sustainable growth, he's for the environment, he's for all that good stuff, a whole variety of them. But are they really? And how do you know? You don't. So that's sorry, I got distracted. So that's the whole thing. You're not gonna know truly where the people stand, because these people won't do the research. So I ask all of you guys, get out there, do the research on these guys. The only one you can't research is on Fine's side. You can't research him because he's new. He even says on his campaign thing, a new voice. So there's nothing to research there. I'm all over the place, and so is Bob. But you won't see that. So I'm out here rambling on, and after that, I'll be here for about another half hour, 45 minutes. I gotta meet with someone, and then I'm off to the Gunstone show, and I'm gonna do a live shot there. So everybody have a great Saturday, and I'll talk to you later.